CPN. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
I
sir.
can hear.
Yeah. So I do have 15 years of experience into this. Worked on various implementations and the support projects. That's all about my introduction. And can you guys start one after other, providing your introduction so that I'll be having an idea of the background that you guys have lost.
Okay, I'll go first. I'm Karthik, and I've been working with ADP, and I'm into the UK payroll. It's been 14 years with ADP, and it is totally into the service team. So post implementation, the payroll will be handed over to the service team, and from there, service team will be taking care all day in day out operations of the clients. So I'm the service team manager, and I have 12, 12 people reporting to me, and I got around 300 plus accounts.
Nice, Karthik. Yeah. After Karthik, come on, guys. Sandhya, Manju, Sharan, Ravan. Can anyone start your introduction?
Saraswati, I think maybe we can start the session because the one is coming up.
Yeah.
So maybe
Yes, yes, I'm even thinking the same. Yeah. So at least over the chat, can anyone tell me how many of you are having an SAP HCM background or SFVC only? Can you guys raise a hand or comment? How many of you all have SFVC experience or SAP HCM? Okay. Only I could see Karthik responding. It's fine. Yeah. So, SFAC, means SFECP as such is a cloud-based payroll concept, wherein we have HRIS. Earlier, when it comes to SAP HCM, we have a one landscape having a master data maintenance as well as that payroll processing and the finance posted within it. So it used to be like that when typical HCM works, but whereas SAP HCM is concerned now, all the payroll processing is separated into a dedicated payroll system, which is nothing but SFECP, and SAP SFEC is a dedicated HRID system where the master data control will be there, and then data maintenance, master data maintenance will be under SFEC. And then on a timely replication or the integration between SFEC and ECP, we would be getting the data to the payroll system, and where in the payroll system we would be processing the payrolls and sending the payroll posting results to our finance system, which could be either means after 2027 it should be on S4 only, but we still have some clients still continuing their legacy systems like ECs, not legacy, SAP old systems ECC, and we do even integrate into payroll postings, sending up to their ECC systems, where finance module in Expo up and running. Okay, so the typical architecture, but now the compound API would here is now slightly modified, and we have like secured certificates through where we can connect it. But this old option is also still been available, uh, wherein we are creating a replication user in SFEC, and then through that user, we would be connecting it. So we do have it, but most of the times now, the security certificate has only been used, which is a secured way of connecting the SFEC and ECP system. So, guys, having any doubt, or can I continue? Okay, since many of people were not responding, yeah, Karthik, you want to say something?
All good now. I can
Yeah,
relate. Yeah,
yeah.
you can
So,
continue with the second. Yeah.
yeah, thank you so much. So, we would be doing SAP HCM configuration as such for the payroll concepts or the PA concepts are still remains the same. We have to do a standalone as in payroll system. We still have to do a personal administration configuration to have an info type data on even for the objects that are related to org structure or anything, any portlets related to, we do have to do the configuration separately on each individual system and picking up those objects, and we would be mapping them, the configuration, through the P2P configuration tables where I have given on the um, right side of the integration model. So all this we would be configuring it, and then within the ECP system mapping up the EC objects to an ECP objects. So when you trigger the replication post the connectivity established between the payroll system and the ECP payroll system and EC system. So system always check the configuration of the P2P mapping, and if mapping presents but the code doesn't exist in the backend table with respect to the PA basic configuration, it even checks and pop-ups some configuration is missing. Example, we have like not been informed by the EC consultant. They have created one employee group, or we call it as an employee category, yeah, in EC. So not been informed, and we were not done such configuration. So when we trigger the replication for the new hires or existing employees being changed or shifted from old employee group to a new employee group, for them, when we trigger the replication, we could see the replication error that this employee group doesn't exist and the mapping is missing. So that's how we can still go back and check that and gather the information about the new configuration that is in place in EC, and then we can start creating them and then mapping it to the P2P mapping. So point to point replication or point to point mapping or the integration is nothing but each individual object that we are configuring in SFEC, we have to map it to SFECP, the configurations. Then only system, once the mapping is successful and having no data discrepancies or the configuration missing things, then once we trigger the replication, we would be having it. So along with that, we have to set up what all the compounds that we would be getting it pick list, or the data that we are getting it from SFEC, and what all the replications that we were being triggering for a replication, we have to specify in our configurations. So for those scope of info types, even after if the security, usually we would not be giving data maintenance access in the payroll system for those info types where we have a replication data coming up. But in case for any missing discrepancies at the security level being provided also, even after we change it, but the next application will remodify the data, and we would be, even while changing it, we would be even getting a pop-up or the warning message that next application will wipe out all the changes that we would be maintaining it, but saving of the record will still be able because of the payroll team, whoever access it will still be having it. Okay, according to the access. So that's how the typical replication scenarios works, and then we have to trigger this replication as a job. How a typical payroll system or the ECC HCM system will be having a background jobs on any reports running up or anything. Typically, or if you schedule any payroll processing in the backend, how it is. So the similar way we have to schedule the replication program through a job on every 15 minutes. So when there is a delta changes for any employee or a new hire employee coming up, we have to trigger them through this replication picks those data, and then if the data looks fine, it gets replicated successfully. And SLG1 is a transaction code where we can check employee level data, or else we can even check the replication status report exists where we can check our bulk employee data as well. So this is how, and this is a key point for the integration setup between SFEC, the HRIS, to SAP SFECP. Okay, and you guys can even ask, what if we have various things other than EC, any other HRIS? So there is standard integration built up by the SAP So if only SAP HRIS system into EC, then we can integrate it, because SAP is working on moving up these EC SFEC into the upcoming version is, since ACC, the HP is rolling off, so it is moving into S4. So we are getting the EC move to S4. So as a dedicated system, but we do have a on-prem system as which is as similar as ECC, where we have all the old modules like OMPA. So, but that on-prem, if we compare it with ECP doesn't have an organization management considered. Why? Because we have an EC controlling all these data. So payroll is considering just the position cost center as an each individual objects or units, and then nothing to do with an org assignment within the payroll scope. So that is the difference between the on-prem as well as ECP. Along with that point-to-point replication, we do have a payroll control center where we are dividing entire payroll processing into pre-payroll, payroll, and post-payroll activity. So once we have all the setup being established and the connectivity between ECC and then EC is even established up and running, the connectivity for the replication is different and the connectivity for PCC is even different. Okay. We are completely connecting the system through front end EC to ECP system. So this is the system that we would be means connecting or being connected for PCC. That's how the system updates over here. And then these are managed policies. Now we have a managed configuration also been added. This was an old screenshot, but we have a managed configuration also been added. So from the front end also we can start configuring the data, and then through a transport management we can move to a quality system also. Under the managed configuration we can give the analytics KPIs if we wanted to configure anything apart from the key performance indicators that SAP has been defined. Okay. So all the payroll process when it comes to PCC has been divided into two sets, but it is again a customization. We can go for not just limited to 3 steps, but if you have any custom reports, custom process also can be configured. Policies as such will be configured over here. Policies is nothing but if there is any net pay was 0, and if any address is missing for the employee, to trigger an alert or an error during, I mean, suppose the process is being run. So such kind of logics or the policies we can enable and assign to the processes. Processes is nothing but pre-payroll or monitoring, one-click monitoring we call it as, and post-payroll, production payroll or a payroll live is completely a live payroll that we are running up, and then finance posting or the bank transfers, the DME transfers will come under post-payroll activity. Along with that, if we wanted to run or send up any data to any third party systems, and then we wanted to add up one of the activity and don't want to do the manual job into going up and logging into ECP and do that, we can even still include that process also. Example, till the bank file reaching it to the server, we can still incorporate those kind of reports also into PCC as a post payroll activity. So payroll process, entire payroll cycle has been divided into 3 steps. Completely the test payroll activity or will be in the monitoring job, and Production payroll means from a releasing the control record from a correction to a release payroll live, and the posting simulation can be included into the production payroll. And the post payroll activity is completely a live. Pre-DME also can be included in the production payroll, or else as a can be considered as a post payroll activity. Pre-DME, DME, the bank transfer, as well as the preliminary data medium exchange. We call it as a pre-DME. So pre-DME, DME, and the payroll posting live can be included under the post payroll activity. That is how the segregation for the PCC is there. Once we create the processes, and then process can be saved, and then that will move to my processes. And then why? Because this process is being created by you. So whatever the process being created or assigned by us as an user will be moved to processes where we can see any active processes where the payroll is being processed through PCC will be under the active processor. So upcoming processes is like in upcoming months or the cycles that we have to yet to run will be on upcoming payroll processes, and the completed payroll processes means a previous month where we have even executed the PCC payroll processes through PCC will be under completed processes. But payroll running independently on ECP will not be captured as a process under the PCC, and we can't view that. Okay, only the processes triggered through the means these programs triggered through a payroll processes or the my processes are only being displayed over here, can be monitored through PCC. Okay, clear? Clear about the point-to-point replication and PCC? Karthik? And apart from that, okay, I'll take it as yes that you guys can able to understand it. Apart from the P2P replication, point-to-point replication of the payroll control center, we have payroll postings through a standard IDOC setup or the integrations. We can integrate the S4 system, which is a finance module, since we have a dedicated payroll. Post the payroll activity, which is similar to ECC, how we trigger the payroll postings to a finance department or the finance landscape. We can transfer it to FI system through a standard IDOC integrations, and it will transfer the posting file to S4 system for the finance to close it book of accounts. That's how the typical ECP runs through. Although the process is similar, but then systems has been separated. EC is controlling the organization assignment and the org structures and even the master data. And then we would be still have to do the configuration of a PA for the info types to have the data. And then on top of that, we would be doing P2P mapping. That is how master data maintenance will be done on a high level. And when it comes to once the data is completed and then we are reaching to our payroll cycle, then we can trigger the payroll activity through PCC. Again through the processes as test payroll, production payroll, and post payroll activities. And once this is even done, so posting will after the live finance posting is being completed, the posting file will be again. This is an automated process. One time we would be setting up, and then it takes care. And also we have an inbound IDOCs coming in typically like We even seen in HR system, right? IDOCs, inbound IDOCs, if you have it, anything coming up from a third party systems. So that either could be a table data or a master data in that case. So we are not configuring or creating a cost centers or GL accounts in the ACP system. There is an inbound IDOC as and when the master data with respect to finance, like within the payroll scope, like GL accounts and master cost centers being created. And those data will also on a how the data changes are coming up into PCC, means ECP. The same way, all the master data with respect to our finance scope, the cost centers and the GL account data will be triggering into ECP system. Okay, that is how the ECP system runs, and that's all about. You guys have any doubt? Please raise. No doubt, so far so clear. Karthik, can you at least respond? Is that clear for you? So during this training, we would be configuring the basic PA setup and then the point-to-point replications and the PCC, how it is. And the basic PC setup with respect to VCP, we will be even showing that. That's it. If no one has any doubts, Subbu, handling over to you. Hi, John.
Hi, 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 everyone.
Yeah, hi. You were late. I just completed the introduction uh, on this, but then yeah, we can cover up later on. But for today, introduction is over, but we can cover up if you are going to join the batch. We can cover up in the first day session. Okay.
Yeah, okay. So is this the morning or evening batch?
That Subbu will be just the same. Okay.
Okay, sure.
Subbu, over to you.
Oh, it's
That's
fine, madam. I will update them.
yeah. So then we can end the session here, since no one is raising any session means concerns or issues or wherein they need more information or anything. Yes, Renu, you want to say something?
Uh, what are the things like PCC and
Point to
uh,
point
PG?
replication, PCC, and the payslip integration that we have to do it with respect to why, because there is no EC payslip as such going forward. Why? Because even employee as a new user, we would be giving an access to EC. So they can log into their EC system access, and then they can view the payslip going forward. And also, like personal data changes or how typically employees can change the data. They can even still do it with their limited of access being provided in this. So that's how the typical replication works. And then those data will get replicated into the system.
Okay, okay. So I have an experience of working with the BIB, but not P2P.
Okay. So it is one and the same. See, BIB and the way of integrating is only different uh, for BIB and for P2P. Okay, BIB is in business partner, but the segregation of the data is like same. But then where in BIB we even replicate the um
Org data.
relationships also, org data and
Yeah.
the relationships also. But here there is no relationships. We would be considering the organization. There is no integration between OM and PA. It is like PA has been taken, but then since position and org unit still been getting replicated as an org data replication is there. So with that process, we still gets the position and org unit and the cost center information mapped to our position or the organization unit at EC level. Okay, for the payroll processing. But there is no connection or there is no org structure being replicated into a payroll system.
So
It
in
is
this case, how-
completely a PA integrated with the payroll, but not OM and PA integration.
so in this environment, we don't have any on-premise system.
No, on premise. There is no on premise. It is a dedicated payroll system, cloud based payroll system,
Okay,
where
okay.
we would be transferring the data to process to maintain the info types means through the replication, not a manual maintenance. We would be doing it, and then we would be processing the payrolls and sending the posting files to finance. Okay, this is a dedicated payroll system with a simplified payroll process. The
So how?
data will be coming up through P2P replication, and payroll process will be segregated through PCC Payroll Control Center.
Okay, okay. So how would we maintain the info types when we don't have the on-premise system mashups?
Yeah, only the tax datas or the country specific datas we would be maintaining through mashups. Or even we can even go with a custom portlet builder, gathering the requirements or providing the requirements to EC consultant and then going for custom uh, portlets in EC, and then we can implement using a NABARD help. We can add up a baddies for the replication and get the data into the system.
Okay, okay. In PTP also, we need to configure the baddies like BIB.
Yes, yes, yeah. Not, yeah, yes, yes. Not like BAB. If you are going with any customization or which is not being provided as a standard P2P solution, we can implement the backup.
Okay, okay. You said that the payslip configuration, right? Like if we get
Mhm.
any requirement which is not no SAP provided, then how would you manage those payslips configuration as per the
We have
customer's
a
requirement?
HR form which is an Adobe Forms. So not
Usually
typical
we design with the
PA51.
yeah, PE51 standard form,
Yeah,
right?
it is not that way. We would be going through an Adobe Forms, and wherein customization can be possible. Example, any data, some set of custom field that you're getting it, some work location, not apart from the personal area and sub area. You even wanted to store a work location or the building location. Example. So we would be customizing those two fields into InfoType 1 through a custom baddie under the replication process. And then we can pick up those building locations into HR forms. Wherever that according to the payslip design that they wanted, we can push those custom fields, and then we can generate it. And again, back integration will be there. So and we would be activating few web services. We would be integrating the ECP system at EC end, so that under the payroll information, if you click, we can get the payslip display. Means typical HR form would be running up in the backend, like the CEDT program HR form even have a program running up in backend, and it picks the results and displays the payslip.
Okay. So when we don't have the on-premise system, like how the CEDT program runs the backend.
No, that's what there is in HRIF, the CDT. I can explain it detail during the training
Okay,
session,
okay, okay.
but it is as similar as your CEDT form. Whereas we used to use a PE51 form wherein most customization is possible, that
Correct.
majorly a functional consultant would be designing that form. Whereas Adobe Form, there's a ABAP scope, ABAP would be developing it provided the layout.
Yeah,
That we
correct.
would be working on the requirement gatherings.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yeah, one question, Saraswati.
Yes, yeah. Yes, yeah.
So, do we need to know the EC? I mean, is this is for the ECP, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do we need to got training in
Not
EC and
required.
then we can
Not
go with
required.
ECP?
Why? Because there is a EC consultant job also. Only the thing is, you wanted to go for a multiple module knowledge, you can. See, in typical ECC also, I don't know whether you have an ECC experience, but then in even in typical also, everyone can't be an expertise on all the modules, right? We have a core
Mm.
module expertise who would be good in recruiting, travel management, or org structure. And we have people or means expertise on the payroll. So the same way, here also the case, EC consultants would be gathering the data, master data requirements during the workshop. Then EC will be developing it. But only the thing is, for ECP scope, wherever that we have to do some settings in the EC, we would be doing it as an ECP consultants. So, but ECP consultants will even be provided EC access for the testing of PCC as well as the payslip. Okay.
Mhm. Okay.
So, but then
So,
it is an add-on. If you learn
mhm,
it, you would be even aware of EC configuration. But as an ECP consultant scope, we have even people working from an EC side, so that they will be handling all this workshops and the requirement gathering. So we just have to get the data from them for our configurations.
mhm. Okay. Is there any issue is coming into some kind of data and all? It always flows from the replication from the EC side, right? EC to ECP. Then,
Yeah, data as such, maybe the HR administrator might have means mapped the data to the employee wrongly. Means in a support
Mhm,
model, we would be dealing with the HR administrator who would be accessing the data. Okay, like a
mhm,
payroll administrator or a HR administrator who maps the wrong data. But in EC, it is an independent fields. Like there is no connectivity between employee group and subgroup, or like when you compared the PA into ECC or even ECP, the same. So we have an assignments or the mappings between employee group and subgroup, or the personal area and sub area. Whereas in EC, those are like means uh, means each individual fields, and there is no connectivity between them. Okay, it won't check whether the work schedule mapped to that employee category is the same, or it won't trigger any error. So those are all like an open fields, like you can map anything, any combinations will still works. But when it comes to the HCM configuration as such, we still have the mappings, and we can't go beyond without the mapping exists, right? So that
Mhm.
kind of data is there, and we would be informing as per the replication errors. We have to monitor it, and then we would be informing the. I mean, so during the implementation phase, EC consultants, we would be informing them, or else we can even change an employee data also provided an access. Okay. But
Mhm.
for an AMS projects, we would be informing the HR administrator with a possible mappings that for that employee, for those data mapping errors, we would be providing them, and then they can modify that and re-replicate.
Mhm. Mhm. And do we get the ECP access for the training and all for
Yeah, that
practical?
Subbu will take care of it. Okay, you guys can reach out, or he'll be reaching out to you guys. Okay,
Mhm.
for the
Okay.
access
How many?
details.
I mean, how many days does it duration? Number of hours and all?
Yeah, 20 days or 25 days around. Okay. Weekends we can stretch more, and weekdays maybe 1 hour or 1.5 hour based on our like topics that we would be running for that specific day.
Okay. Mostly into a implementation or the supporting of everything. The both you can include, right? Both you can cover, right? This
Yeah,
Subbu?
I can cover, see, one while explaining everything, I can cover how the implementation or the requirement gathering will work on that particular topic, and how it is we can go for the best practices also, that how we would be considering those cases. Yeah, I can discuss those scenario based
Mhm.
also.
Okay, okay. I come to know that some of the futures or some kind of things need to enable from the ECP side, that switches and all everything can be you're
Yeah,
going to
that
explain, right?
and all is going to cover it
Uh-huh.
into the training.
Okay, okay. Along with the system access as well, I guess. Okay, yeah. Okay, thank you, sir. Sir. I'll talk to Subbu.
Okay. So from by here, it's like since there's no much concerns raised by or any doubts, I wanted to end up the session over here. Over to you, Subbu.
Saraswati, one last doubt.
Yes,
So,
yes,
what
yes.
would be the CPI consultant do here? Like, is there any scope?
SFAC, no, for like only when the integrations or the interfaces comes into a picture, CPI consultant. Between SFEC and ECP, the connectivity is, there's no scope for it, is a standard connectivity. Like in BIB, CPI will trigger the workflows, and they have to enable the standard workflows for the master data. But here we don't. Only the interfaces where, since you have technical knowledge into HCM also, like and then the BIB. So only the interfaces, example, the bank files where we are triggering to the AL11. So CPI consultant will pick that extractors and then run the workflows into CPI, and then running it, means placing into a bank file. So those typical PIXI, if you call it as, those means work will be done by CPI team over there. Only interfaces. The scope for CPI into the ACP system is interfaces, where we have to send or receive the third party files, the data, then CPI will come into a picture.
Okay, okay. So, EC to ECP, we don't need CPI.
Yeah, not majorly, only for bank transfers.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Okay, so are we good to close the call?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you all. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.